Hello everyone, welcome to Kirby's Dream Land 3 speedrun stream. I'm pretty big into Kirby's Dream Land 3 speedrunning, so I decided I might as well stream some of my attempts. Currently doing the any percent category. I got a decent world record, but I want to improve it by a bit. Just gonna go ahead and start. Right away, I'm going to reset the game, and that's going to allow me to skip that cutscene, which saves a couple seconds from the start. Finding that out made the very beginning of the run go from 10 seconds of cutscene skip to much faster pace than I didn't like that start, so I'm just gonna actually restart the runs if no one's even watching. So once again, soft resetting the game so I can skip the cutscene. Then we'll jump into level 1. This jump right here is actually very precise. Dang it. Yeah, I have the world record, but I want to improve it. It's really difficult. My intention is to bounce off of that circle and quickly jump right over the Waddle Dee so I can hit the floor immediately and then jump again. But I only have a few frames to do so, and sometimes you just end up headbutting straight through the circle and flying away. I honestly don't know why that happens. Whenever you jump into an enemy from below or blocks, you can either bounce off of them or end up going straight through them. I don't know what the difference is. Right there, I spawned Gooey to pick up the crazy candy, but I don't actually want him around, so then I killed him immediately. World 1 is pretty easy in general, although the first 2 levels are not that free. There's certainly some difficult tricks. That's the most difficult part of the entire level. It's hard to get through there without getting hurt. You have to jump at a very specific time. I have 4 frames of jump, and then you need to inhale on the way down in order to keep top speed and get that stone enemy out of your way. Kinda lost focus a little bit right there. Ran into that in the rough. This level's pretty easy. It's a bunch of flying. I'm going to try to control Gooey and Kirby at the same time. So when you have Goo, the faster you mash B, the faster you fly. So I'm going to try to be flying as fast as I can throughout most of the game. Fortunately, you're probably going to hear button presses. They are pretty loud. Since it's any percent, I want to fail all the minigames, and then I have Gooey out so that he can go through the door faster than I can, since he's already right there. I actually only wanted to inhale the first 2 of those roughs, but I didn't really lose much time. Sometimes it just decides to inhale all 4 of them and I can't actually stop it when that happens. So very difficult to do perfectly, but probably only lose a second or 2 if you make a couple mistakes. There's a lot of optimizations that can definitely go wrong. None of them are super difficult, but basically all of them are reasonably difficult. It'd be really cool if I could figure out a way to extend this crazy candy for longer, because I would be able to fly through this entire section without stopping a single time. As it is, I have to get off Ku every single time I need to break these blocks because it's impossible when flying on Ku. And then rejoining with him. It takes half a second for that animation. That went quite well. Got stuck a tiny bit at the start. This level is very straightforward. Basically gonna be flying in a straight line for most of it. I want to hit those forward moving logs for an extra burst of speed. Here are going to be more logs that I want to utilize. Getting this door is very tricky to do well, awesome. It's hard to get in front of that door after the tick. Obviously, if you try to go down before the tick, you just run into it this time. I've been messing up that first room a lot, so I'm glad I didn't now. Definitely a lot of movement to this level. Probably the most difficult level in World 1. It's over now. You don't really want Gooey spawned for the jumping endgame, at the end of the level, because having 2 people jump makes it take longer. I'm going to try to make them land on the same space, almost, because then Gooey doesn't collect anything. I don't lose any time. But I don't really... If I could just take out Gooey somehow, I would lose health, but it would be fine. I would do that if I could, however, there's no easy way to do that. I would need to be spamming A on the second controller while spamming B on my controller, which would certainly slow down my mashing. Plus, if you can get Gooey to land on the same space as Kirby, you lose almost no time. Theoretically, you could lose absolutely no time. Okay. World 2 is where the run gets very serious. Which might seem odd, only the second world. But there are the two major reset points of the run coming up. Also, I just recently changed the route for the entire world. It includes stone here, which ends up being a couple seconds faster. You lose like half a second in this level picking up stone, and then you save it from small optimizations at the next level. And then in 2.5 is where the big time save comes in. By big, I mean a couple seconds. Honestly, I don't even know why it saves time, I just happened to come across it recently. Definitely lost time on that level because this is the first time I'm actually using this route. So right there is where the stone saves time in this level. It doesn't really help there. You do that movement very optimally, the stone can save a little bit more time, but basically it's just the same. It's really hard to get through there, it's a very tight squeeze. Hey Red Nose Shark, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming. Normally I would eat the fire enemy to break those blocks, but I don't have to since I already have stone. Doesn't really save me time though. Late. Alright, now this is the huge run killer. You'll see why in a bit. I'll start to explain it. Basically, I'm going to have to play completely blind in order to skip a cutscene trigger, or an auto-scroll trigger, I mean. So the way that works is I'll have Gooey piloting kind fish here. If Gooey is using an ability, he is able to stay off screen, otherwise he would get warped back to Kirby. So I'm going to have Gooey constantly using Spark. I have to swim through the entire area, and then I have to line myself up perfectly in front of the door. If I am not exactly in front of the door when I hold up, Gooey's just going to get warped back to Kirby instead of going through the door and progressing. So let's see if I can get this. Yes, I got it. So that is a huge time save, like 20 seconds, but if you miss it, the run's basically dead. You lose that 20 seconds. I'm totally fine with losing a second there. I'm not worried about losing or gaining seconds, I'm just worried about keeping the run alive. And then I have to do a very similar thing in this level, which I've been messing up lately, but I've been practicing it constantly for like the last 2 days, so hopefully I can get it. So again, I'm going to skip another auto-scroll section, which is much shorter. Saves less time, but it's like 7 seconds. No, I got it! I must have missed the door. Ah, I had it. I'm gonna try it again. I don't even know what happened there. It feels so bad when you actually make it to the door, but then don't get in. The thing is, finally. I'm gonna continue the run, just so I can practice the rest of the game. But the thing is that the first auto-scroll skip, getting to the door is super easy. Even if you mess up, you can just find your way there with audio cues. But then getting in the door is a bit hard. On that one, actually making it to the door is where you mess up. If you miss a single jump, you get lost and there's really no recovering from it. But then it's much easier to get to the door, precisely because the door is right next to the wall. Unfortunately, it's not touching the wall, otherwise, once you got to it, it would be super easy to get in. It'll be completely free. It's much closer, so that makes it easier. Right there is basically the reason that taking stone saves time. I don't know why, but if you use stone in that section and hold right, you get a big burst of speed in the current. So I found that out just the other day. I need kind for the rest of this level because it's water, so he's just faster. So I have Gooey take hold of Kine, and then I run through that small gap which you could usually not go through if you had Kine. Oops. And that allows me to get my fish friend through to the rest of this level without having to take the long way around. And anytime you're in water, Kine is going to save a lot of time. You swim very slowly in this game. If you have Ku, you can move a little bit faster in water, and all the other animal friends are just as slow as Kirby is. Normally I would 100% reset if I missed either of the auto-scroll skips, but since I'm streaming it, and since it's been a while since I've actually completed a run, I'm just going to do a no reset run. And that way you'll get to see the whole game. I will play the whole game. I will PB eventually, but not this run. Alright, so here this is a fairly... Well, that was a fairly recent scrap where I am supposed to have Gooey take Broom from me because I need it for the boss. And we're gonna have to go back and get it. You really need Broom, especially with the strat I'm using. With Broom, you can also have Gooey enter this one door for you. And use the same principle as the auto-scroll skip to have Gooey stand in front of that door. Unfortunately, Ku is just off screen, so you can't have Gooey stand in front of the door normally. Or he'll warp to Kirby. That flying section is really hard, and if you mess up a single part of it, you get really off rhythm. Unfortunately, if I don't do that level exactly right, it doesn't save any time over. What everyone else does is they go back to level 1-3 and then get Coup and then go to 2-6. It's actually a little bit faster if I do it right. Here I'm going to do something kind of weird. I'm going to spawn Gooey, and when you have 2 players on a boss, they actually take less damage, since I guess you have twice as many people ganging up on them. And I actually want that. Normally Acro would take 3 hits to go into second phase, but I manipulate his health so that he actually takes 4 hits. But the last hit does extra damage because he's so close to going into his second phase. And so I'm able to make it so the second phase takes 2 hits, which is huge because the first phase is free. He does the same thing. There's no RNG, it's easy to hit him. But the second phase is all RNG. It's super hard to move because you're underwater. And you can lose a lot of time, you can even lose runs there. If you get hit twice quickly, which you can't always avoid, then you lose your power. And if you lose your power, it's basically impossible to hit him. So you might as well just reset if that happens. I found that out while trying to copy the task strat. It's not quite task level, but it takes all the RNG out of the fight, which usually saves a lot of time. The downside is you're guaranteed to take 2 damage because I have to spawn and then kill Gooey instead of reabsorbing him. Whenever you spawn Gooey, you lose 1 block of health, which is 2 HP. If you swallow him, you get it back, but I don't really have time during the boss fight. However, you could definitely take 2 damage from Acro if you did it normally, so it's not really that much of a downside. I was supposed to fire a little bit earlier. That guy doesn't jump into your way 90% of the time, but I always fire just in case. I was unfortunately just a little bit slow there. Here it's very tricky to get through without getting hit. You gotta squeeze into some pretty small gaps. I'm gonna try to grab a tomato because I'm low on health. There we go. I'm coming up on the most annoying level in the game, in my opinion. Not this one, but the next one. This one is nice. It has awesome music. One of the best songs in video games. Fly flying around the room. Something I should mention. If I get hit backwards, I lose like a second, but if I get hit the same way I want to go, I lose almost no time. So if I do end up taking damage, I want it to be in the forward direction. Just don't get hit twice in a row. If you get hit twice in a row, you lose your power, and as you can see there, you can kind of clip through blocks. I hit that enemy even though it was completely behind a blockade. I did already know that was a thing. Still pretty weird. Any percent's not quite as exciting to watch as 100%, or 97% I should say. But I want to get a sub 5930 before I go back to 97% category. Somebody beat my world record, so I'm gonna have to take it back. Now I'm second place in 97 and 100% instead of first. have to manipulate these Terrans in a very specific way in order to make them lie where I'm not going to be. But you have to get pretty close to them. Unfortunately, I took damage on that one. Now, this is the worst level in the game, in my opinion. It also has the hardest minigame, which fortunately we get to skip. But the rest of the level is still very long, very painful, and very difficult to do quickly. I have actually died many times to this level in runs. You don't die a whole lot in Kirby's Dream Land 3 speedrunning, because there aren't that many enemies, but in this level you certainly can. You also have to go 5 levels without getting a single healing item, which is why it ends up killing some runs. Plus, there's just a whole bunch of enemy spam here. It's supposed to spawn Gooey before that, but I didn't spawn him during the game, it's okay. I want to choose my answer first though, because if I spawn Gooey before the game's over, he's going to have to choose an answer too. I just have to use both controllers. It shouldn't be slower, but it could be if I were to have to pick a different answer. Not really a concern on that game though, because you never get one. This is the last room. They just decided to throw a whole bunch of enemies at you in a tiny little space. Just getting through that alive is an accomplishment, and it's all you need to do because you get a tomato halfway through the next level. So I'm usually not too concerned even if I only have 1 HP at this point. I'm just very happy that I didn't die. Although I did once get here with 1 HP, I managed to choke and die just before I got the tomato, which really sucked. You can imagine. Luckily, I've practiced that level a lot. Gotten a good bit of practice on all of World 3, so that doesn't happen as much. I'm usually not as low on health as I used to be. Even if I am, I can always attempt to grab a tomato at the end of any level. It might waste time. It's better than dying. Depending on where the tomato is in the jumping minigame, you might not lose hardly any time. Here we got a short auto-scroller. It would be a lot longer and all underwater if you were doing this 97% though, so at least we get to skip about half of it, and we get to move freely during most of it, except for the very beginning section. And the end of this level, there's going to be more flying. There's one Bronto bird right there that tries to troll you. Don't know of any way to get through him without killing him. And you just fly your way to victory. Like I said, flying speed is directly proportional to how fast you mash the B button. Your arm can get pretty tired during these runs. At this point, I can just basically mash B for hours. I practice this so much. Without really getting a break. Alright, there are a lot of complicated strats in this level. Right off the bat, I'm going to spawn Gooey at a very specific time to manipulate the screen scroll, which makes that block not fall as fast, which makes me allowed to get underneath it. So I get just far enough, I get about halfway underneath that block, which allows me to get hurt to the right. So like I said, getting hurt the way you're going doesn't lose hardly any time, so I can damage boost straight through the block instead of damage boosting backwards. and that allows me to get through the third block with invincibility frames instead of having to use fire to get through it. Here I need Parasol for the boss fight, so I'm going to have Gooey hold on to it because I actually need to get Cutter. The game forces you to get Cutter in a little bit in order to progress. So since I need to get Cutter, I give Gooey Parasol during the auto-scroller when it doesn't waste any time. And then I'm just going to have him hold on to it for the rest of the level. It's a very recent strat that I came up with. Saves a couple seconds. Also, most people use Broom for the Pawn and Con fight, but I prefer Parasol. You can do a lot more things with it. And I'm going to have him Gooey take Coup, because I can't get under these guys without, or while I have Coup. Getting through here is about the same time whether you have Coup or not, but I prefer doing it this way. It's much easier. And I'm going to take the Parasol. The Gooey was so kind to hold on to me. As you can see, I actually got my health back since I inhaled Gooey. And that's that level. A lot going on, but it went pretty well. And this level goes from the longest level in the entire game, I believe, in 97%, to very short and easy. Instead of going to all the 6 rooms and collecting all of the rob parts, you literally just fly through the level and ignore everything. Goes from the longest and hardest to the shortest and easiest, basically. We're already halfway through the level. Just gotta go through this next door and then fly over the last section. And I'm sorry that you're going to have to hear me mash the B button at all times. I really tried to get my mic to not pick it up, but the noise is so loud it's hard to get a mic to pick up your voice but not pick up the mashing. Now let's see how this goes. I've been practicing this hundreds of times. Excuse me, hitbox. That was not an ideal start, I have to say. Sometimes, like now, neither boss will spawn, so you just can't do any damage. And there's no way to prevent that, so you're just waiting there for 7 seconds for the next cycle. A 4 cycle on that's pretty good. I really want to get a 3 cycle in an actual run. That was alright. I couldn't have done it any faster. Just from skill, because there was the time or two when no one showed up. The problem is, getting a 3 cycle and just fighting that boss in general is like 70% RNG and only 30% skill, so no matter how good I get, I'm not going to be able to force a 3 cycle. They could literally just have neither of them show up for the first 3 cycles, if they wanted. That's basically the only RNG part of any percent now that I managed to destroy 85% of the RNG in Acro with my new strat. So it's most fun to practice since it is different every time, but it's the most frustrating to actually play. You never know what you're gonna get. You have to react very quickly, and if they give you bad RNG, there's absolutely nothing you can do. You could technically skip this auto-scroller with the same trick that I used in 2.3 and 2.4, but That's like a task-only strat. You would need stone with Ku, because you want Ku for the rest of the level, otherwise you're slow. But you move very slowly with Ku and stone. It's like basically the same speed as the auto-scroller, so you don't really save any time. And you would have to get exactly in front of the door, which is what I kept messing up, in 2-4. So it would give you something to kill your run without actually really saving any time. This is a very difficult part to play because you're basically blind. The camera never scrolls forward when you're using an ability. So it's very difficult. You have to just know what's coming up and exactly when it's coming up. I practiced it a lot, but I can still mess it up very easily. This level is very frustrating. 97% because you have to dust off all those flowers, but the clouds hide them. And if you touch them with your body, they die. If you dust them off twice, they die. And then the run's instantly dead if that happens. I'm a little low on health, but I'm not going to grab a tomato unless it's basically free. But you do get multiple free health pickups in World 4. I am very concerned about being this low. I shouldn't be quite this low. But you also... World 4 doesn't have that many enemies. I'll still take damage for sure, but hopefully not too much. That's the only room you can even get hurt in this level. So you just fly over the rest of it. The Terrans stop you from flying straight across there. But in the rest of the rooms, fly across the top, kill whatever's in front of the door, and just be on your merry way. Very mashing intensive, but not very difficult. And then I'll get 4 HP on the next level as long as I don't miss them. I'll feel much safer once I get that. Yeah, the tomato's all the way at the end. I don't want to wait the extra second or two it takes to actually jump that far. I'm just gonna ignore it, go to the next level. Something kind of interesting about my mashing is that I use different parts of my arm to mash as fast as I can, and I can't exactly control which part I use. So one day I might be spamming the B button and my shoulder will get really tired, but like today my forearm's actually really tired for some reason. I'm not sure why I need my forearm that much to mash, but okay, whatever works. Oops. I don't know how I actually hit that guy. You really don't want to. Big time loss. I wonder how big. I should try and time that out sometime. Should have been paying more attention, but I just assume he's not going to have one of any. I assume the answer's not going to be one. Like I said, I do need to get it wrong. But I've only seen the answer be one a single time, and it wasn't even in my run, it was in somebody else's run. Here we got a long 60-second auto-scroller. Unfortunately, you can't skip this no matter what. It's only possible to skip auto-scrollers if they start off as not auto-scrollers, because otherwise you can't get beyond the edge of the screen. Once you trigger an auto-scroller, it becomes impossible to skip, as far as you know. Could skip this one though, that would be huge. It's a full 60 seconds. Can you back off, Poppy Bro? Junior. My whole time lost there was just accidentally going to that green blob. It probably doesn't lose too much time if you don't go into like the very first one. But I'm sure it would still be a time loss. This level is very difficult to do quickly and correctly. You can certainly take a lot of damage. You've got these high winds pushing you during the entire level. Sometimes it can even be hard for the camera to keep up with you like this. You just have to know it's coming. And there are quite a few different rooms. I'll often get the order of the rooms mixed up in my head and skip this one, end up going left when I need to go right. Luckily I've practiced this quite a bit, so I at least shouldn't do the wrong things. I can still get hurt, because it's a difficult level. I knew that was there, I attempted to dodge it, but I was too slow. Those are all the difficult parts though. Now you just got a boss fight. I manipulate him to be as close to the door as possible, so that I can go through it immediately once he gets taken out. And then it's just a bunch of firing through these blocks. Not cancel correctly. These guys are such trolls, these little puffs. They break into 3 smaller ones when you destroy them. And the smaller ones can actually go through the floor and then hit you on the next pass. Like, I hit the one time and then the stupid fluffs came and trolled me, hitting me immediately after, which caused me to lose my power, which is very important. I need fire for that section and for the next level. This level is also another difficult one in 97%. You have to take Rick all the way through, and there are so many places you can just fall and die instantly. If you die, your run dies. There are actually a couple places in 97% at least where you can take a death and not have it kill your entire run, but those instances are very rare. I don't know if there's anywhere that could happen in any percent. I did have a really good World 1. The run died when I missed 2-4 skip. Once those were found, it introduced huge reset points into the run. Before, there weren't that many places. The run was super likely to die. But now if I miss either of the auto-scroll skips, game over. Here, they're gonna spawn a bunch of these propellers. And if you get too many black propellers on screen, the game actually lags a lot. Soon, because those are the fastest type of propeller. Can't do anything about it though, except hope You don't get those kind. From what I've seen, any other colors are completely fine. It's just if you get too many black ones. Here I'm going to grab Broom for the upcoming boss fight. Very soon. Basically it. One more room for this level. And then the next boss fight, which is probably the longest. It's not good. You need 2 spaces to fit through with Ku. Most animal friends give you a much bigger hitbox. So you can't fit through small spaces. You're more likely to get hit by other things. Thanks for that easy tomato placement. Probably the longest boss, but not the hardest. There's very little RNG that goes into this when you have a power. You can take out that guy before you can even attack. You can take out this guy maybe before you attack, depending on how quickly he decides to. And then the sun and the moon just do the same thing every time. I think it's slightly faster to kill the sun first. Or no, kill the moon first. I'm gonna practice that, because I used to kill the sun first. That's why I need to practice it. I need to be more familiar with when and where the sun's invincibility frames were off. Here's the RNG part. Not too bad when you have Ku and Broom, but you can get hurt easily. You can waste time. That was just bad at the end. You just needed 1 hit left. Okay. You want to line up perfectly in the middle of the screen when you defeat bosses, because the game forces you to go to the middle of the screen. You want to save the time it takes to walk there. One world left. Definitely the hardest. This is maybe the hardest level in the entire game to do perfectly. Basically, never get through it without making some mistake. First, there's this room where rock enemies can just jump at you randomly and there's nothing you can do about it. It's almost impossible to squeeze through those 2 without getting hit. You can't really just go straight up unless you started off going straight up. Hard to squeeze through that mumbly and fire without getting hurt. This is the only easy room. Just fly all the way through, but then it does another super hard one where it doesn't physically give you enough space to squeeze through all the enemies, so you have to do some crazy angles and ridiculous flying. Basically, never get through here without getting hurt. Ooh, I actually did it. Touch the ground, it tends to make you stick there, and it also pushes you back because the snow is going the opposite way, so you don't want to touch the ground at all. This was actually a pretty nice level because it gives you a huge health refill. It's not a whole tomato, but it does give you 8 health, so unless you're at 1 health, it's going to be a full refill. Even if you are at 1 health, it's probably going to be enough to get you through the rest of the game. I'm going to need ice here just for the very next room. And then I'm gonna go back to fire. Yeah, you need ice and 97% to freeze a bunch of Metroids. That's the speed for this level. it's just pretty convenient if you want to zip through the entire level, because there are a bunch of enemies on the ground, and you're going to see what I can do to them with one ice usage. If I could avoid them without using ice, I would. I can't figure out if that's even possible. If I freeze one enemy and it takes out all of them. And then back to fire. I hate these bats so much. I actually need this very much so. You are required to have fire for the next level. You can get it in the next level, so if you were to lose it permanently, it wouldn't be too bad. But I need it anyway, might as well not lose it. Much shorter auto-scroller, you can see the avalanche is coming much quicker. We get to see a quick cameo from Samus, who expects us to do all our work for her. Not today. This level contains an auto-scroller that might be even longer than the one in 4-3. Could also skip this, but it's got the same problem of you really want Ku for the rest of the level. If the rest of the level was underwater, it would certainly be worth it to go and get Kind, because then you move faster to the rest of the level, as well as being able to skip this auto-scroller. Could also technically use stone here, like I was mentioning, but it wouldn't be much faster, and there's no good place to get stone. I'll pick up that tomato just because I can without losing any time at all, so why not? Save. You can actually just break the level entirely, fit through the wall, and go over top if you have Rick and Stone. Doing that is not TAS only, but doing it quickly enough to actually save time is TAS only, because then you have Rick for the entire level instead of Ku, so you don't move as fast without TAS strats. Here we're gonna have our last minigame. Jeff Kawasaki is going to spawn some Gordos that make noises and you have to choose the right one, or in my case, the wrong one. Not sure if I've ever lost a run there to that minigame, but it is possible to lose the minigame. The biggest reason would be something makes a loud noise as one of the Gordos is dropping, so you don't know which one's which. I was too fast. Right, home stretch. Five is complicated, but not super difficult. And then 5-6 is pretty straightforward. It is possible to lose the run on 5-6 if you lose your power up. That's unlikely. Most of the bosses don't even have a chance at hurting you. so it's hurting you twice quickly. We are coming up on the worst mini-boss of the game, though. Yuki. Unfortunately, Yuki is very RNG, and they can make themselves invincible for long periods of time, so you just have to basically hope that doesn't happen. You want Yuki to jump, because if it throws its head, you have to destroy all of the heads before you even get a chance to attack it. If it charges, can you please keep screaming? We have a stream. I'm not even going to be able to look on this level to see if the stream comes back up. Hello, is anybody there? Stream working? Hello, hello. Stream. That room is so impossible. Hello, can I be online, please? This is online. There's not too much to say about this level, except there's a lot of rooms and it requires a lot of focus and memorization. 90% of the rooms aren't difficult to do, but you need to know what's coming up before it happens so you know what to do. There's one super difficult room, which I've already gone through. I'm low on health, but it's fine. If I had 1 health, I would be concerned, but probably okay. 2 health is not even that concerning. I'm going to get health very soon. Once again, I need Broom for the boss fight, although I'll actually use it much sooner since there's a boss rush. So I'm going to be using it for all of 5, 6, and the final boss. You can get hurt, but you get health right here. So, like I said, single health is pretty concerning, but 2 health is not that bad. Sometimes if I do happen to have a whole lot of health, I'll skip the tomato in the upcoming level to save a few frames. Like I said, it's a few frames, I don't even think it's a full second, but I will get it in this case. I need it. I do actually need to get Broom if he had died, but if I did quit the whole level to go and get Broom. Damage there, I don't care. I don't want to waste seconds. I need Choo Choo. I guess we are going to show off the tomato-less route. Yay! Same thing, just different floors. Fortunately, I got distracted by talking, and we're not even going to save any time because it took so long to get to that door. Alright, the run is done. Honestly, it's not too bad for a no reset run. It's certainly bad for a world record attempt. But just screaming, decent run. Now this is one of the most powerful items in all the game. Broom combined with Choo Choo. Takes out every single mini boss, 2 hits except for the broom mini boss since it's not very effective against it. You can see Yuki went from quite the pain to basically a joke. Since you take him out before he can finish a single attack, he doesn't usually have a chance to go invincible unless he throws his head. But even that's not as bad. You have Broom. Guy is also very RNG. He can move, you don't want him to move because that's a waste of time. He can throw spikes or charge. You need him to get rid of his spikes before you can physically hurt him. That was pretty good. He didn't move very much, and he also threw his spikes, which is better than charging, and ends up closer to the door. Here we got the final boss. We're gonna kind of make a mess of him with Broom. If I do this very quickly, I can take him out before he even gets a single attack in, which is good. But it's really hard, and the way he moves is RNG, so you have to stay on top of him, kind of just guess which way he's gonna go. That's any percent. If you don't take out DDD before he attacks, and he uses his stomping attack, it can be very dangerous because he can actually hurt you and waste a lot of time. But if he uses the attack that he just used, you can take him out. It actually gets easier to hit him because he stops moving. Thanks for the GP. Do probably one more run. Probably still won't get world record, but if I get both auto scroll skips the first try, we can at least be on what I was trying to do. Jelly run. Very tricky jump. That's fun when you get it. Now, there's not a whole lot to say about World 1. We got the same things, doing the same things. Hopefully I do all the same things because I had a pretty good World 1. I can headbutt that guy out of the way. You want him to jump out of the way of the door so you don't have to do that. But if you just headbutt him over the time. I have to crush one of these flowers in order to not get the animation of them giving me a heart star at the end of this level. If you do everything right, and this flower gives you a heart star, that's like 2 seconds wasted to the cutscene. Why didn't my timer start? Hello? How did I not notice that as well? Alright, I'm gonna restart just because. Restart the timer somehow. Thought I saw it start. Oh well. That was a perfect level 1, but it's not really hard. And if you don't get a perfect level 1, you lose like a second. I am disappointed that I got that jump and then reset. Annoying. And of course, the one time I actually get the jump, which is not that hard, honestly. This is the one time I end up resetting for stupid things. Do this all again. Fortunately, that would have been a gold split. Now it's probably not going to be. Like I said, 1 second time loss. Not a big deal. Every second does count in this run, but if you lose less than a second, that's not such a big deal. Kinda suck if I was on world record pace. I don't think about that. Pretty sure I also didn't use the strategy where Gooey picks up the crazy candy for me. My PB. It's not that hard to save time in level 1 during the splits. If I do everything right, it's guaranteed. Oh, why did that guy jump? I'll often reset. If I don't get this level, it's completely perfect in a run, just because it is the second level. Although it is somewhat difficult to do perfectly, so I might reset for 40 minutes on end before finally getting past here. And not do that while streaming. So obviously I want Gooey to go through the door here just because he can be closer. If I don't use Gooey, then I have to fly all the way to the door. It's an extra second or two. Also, if you are joined with an animal friend, it actually takes longer to go through doors because they do a little wiggle animation instead of just turning and going through the door. So having Gooey by himself go through the door is a little extra time save. Save the frames. If I get the 2 this time. What I was trying to do, you don't need to take out the extra 2, because you can get in the door before they get in. If you go really fast, inhaling all 4 of them, it doesn't waste a lot of time. But I don't know if you can save every single frame and make it perfect. If I don't get out of grass land ahead of time, I'll end up playing while on the rest of the run or something like that. How does that sound? If you push up against that wall, it's supposed to give you the perfect angle to get up that slanted corridor without hitting any enemies. I don't know why that works, but sometimes it just doesn't. I don't know why it doesn't work either. Maybe if I understood how it worked, I would know why it doesn't work. But I don't. Fortunately, you have to wait for those borders to get out of the way even if you are super fast. But it means that if you mess up like that, you don't lose as much time because you're gonna have to wait anyway. And then this one, you want to beat it. Oh, come on. But if you're too slow, you can damage boost through it, which I did not do a very good job of showing off right there. You want to hit both of those with the one cloud called the Loud. Really creative name. Welcome back, Red Nose Shark. I managed to finish the run, although the stream died halfway through. Not halfway through, but right at the end, even worse. So I'm starting a new one. You may or may not recognize. I'm not sure if you're here at this point. Not off to quite as good of a start, but it's not really the start that matters, it's the skips that matter. That's where your run lives or dies. Although it was pretty good to get the first cutscene skip first try. I don't know if I'll be able to do that again. Probably get out of World 1 only slightly behind. It won't be too big of a deal. Normally I absolutely hate starting off red, but I don't mind too much if I'm just streaming. Bro, I don't want to reset for half an hour straight just because I'm too picky. Open the door. No. Luckily I was able to get in just as I got hurt. If it had taken me just a couple frames longer to get in the door, I would have gotten hit out of the way. Taking longer to get back through. Actually, if you damage boost very specifically straight into the door, I think it saves some time. That's gonna be a few frames, not even a second. Oh, it's too close. Position yourself very specifically and dodge his air wisps and destroy his vegetables. If I get hit by something, it's not a big deal. I need to not lose my power, but he doesn't even get 2 attacks. So. Fortunately, you can't skip any of the other cutscenes. TAS actually resets to skip this cutscene, but I don't know how they managed to go faster than using Coup. Hey Caden, welcome to the stream. I'm doing well, how about you? Hopefully if I can mash very quietly, won't be picked up on the microphone, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up quiet mashing. After all, I do need to spam the B button as fast as I possibly can. Sometimes I'll accidentally go through that door before swallowing the rock, because I'm not used to this new route. So if that happens, we'll just spit out the power and you don't get it. So I would need to revert back to old routes. Alright, was it a fun party, Caden? I don't do a lot of partying myself, personally. Mostly sit home and play video games. It is more enjoyable to me. That was pretty smooth. I'm not very practiced at that movement, but that's basically what I want it to look like. Not bad. That part is free to get through, and then that part is the hard part. So I got hurt on the free part and managed to nail the difficult part. I guess it balances out. Alright, next level. The auto scroll skip, where all runs go to die. I got it first try. Will I be able to do it again? Will I even be able to get to it again? Choke. The rest of the level isn't necessarily free, but it's dwarfed by the difficulty. The auto scroll skip. I am controlling both players, if I didn't make that clear. Sometimes I'm playing with two controllers at the same time. Give me 4, please. So it can be pretty difficult, and my movement's very limited. So I have to spawn GUI at that exact point. I'm not gonna actually be able to move. I don't really have the dexterity to do that when I'm just using my pinky. I have my pinkies on the 2 buttons I need. And that's it. Right here's the auto scroll skip if you missed it the first time. Ah, man. Almost got it 2 for 2. So I'm gonna do it again just for practice sake. But it's like 3 times harder the second time. Got no audio clues. So I destroyed them all. But yeah, you have to... GUI's allowed to go off screen when he's using an ability, so you have to use an ability the entire time. Have GUI navigate blindly to the door. Place him directly in front of the door and then be holding up when you let go of your power. If you're not perfectly in front of the door, you're just gonna get warped back as you saw. And the whole trick's gonna fail and your run's gonna die. That's what happens majority of the time, since it's so hard to play blindly. Hey, I got that one first try though. I think I'm going to be ahead of where I was. It took me so long to get that one. Last try. pretty good. I got each one first try at least once, and then it only took a couple extra tries, and I missed them. Those are definitely the hardest parts of the entire run. They're where I reset 90% of the time that I actually get out of level 2. You can kind of see how Kirby gets rocketed forward when he uses stone some of the time. I don't know why that happens, but found it out. I'm gonna use it to my advantage. Sometimes you don't jump there, and then sometimes you don't make that second jump. Sometimes you do. I don't know why. Even if you jump from the lowest part of the floor, sometimes you can make it onto the next level, and then sometimes you can't. Seems random. Tomato, so I wasn't worried about health. Although I do have to be conservative with my health from now on, because that's the last healing item you get until after 3-3. We got the rest of this level, 2-6, Acro, which I'm guaranteed to lose at least 2 health on, and then 3.5 more levels before I get another healing item. Long way, and there are some difficult levels in there. Even the levels that aren't too hard can still be painful when you lose a lot of health, even if you don't lose a lot of time. I kind of touched on it before. In any other route, you're supposed to, not supposed to, but everyone else gets coup first. Just goes all the way back to 1-3 and gets coup in order to fly through all of this level. But I don't want to do that because I can save a couple seconds if I get coup at the end of the level, because at least I still have him for the rest of the game. That's what I was supposed to do last time, so I actually have a chance to save time on this level. So then, since I wasn't really able to move anyway when I'm in this guy, I used the time to swap my power over to Yui. And you're gonna see why I need him to have it. Because it's the only way he can stay in front of this next door, which is going to allow him to pass through it and save time. I'm gonna leave him in there, and then he's gonna be able to immediately go through the door, and I don't have to travel backwards. That's how that flying section is supposed to look. I'm perfect. I got through without getting hurt, and without losing any time. That's how that's supposed to look. As you can see, I saved quite a bit of time. I managed to save a few seconds over the usual strats. Sometimes Acro can actually glitch out and go into second phase after only 3 hits instead of 4. That's really unfortunate, because then you still have to do 3 hits underwater, and you wasted 2 HP for absolutely nothing. I mean, we're not too far behind. It's impossible for me to PB, but it'd save like 10 seconds if we get good pawn and con RNG. That's not the worst thing ever. Everybody speedruns Mario 64. I don't even really like the movement in that game. Besides, if I speedran that, I wouldn't even be able to get like top 100. That wouldn't be very fun if you can't compete. I mean, I don't want games where no one else is speedrunning them and world records free. That's no fun. It's also no fun if you couldn't get world record even if you spend your entire life on it. Because other people that are better than you are basically spending their entire life on one game. I've speedrun other games, but Mario 64 is not one of them. I don't know how good I would be at running most 3D games. Because you need super precise movement, but you can move in 360 degrees. So I'm not great at precision movement at all. And yet in that element, I don't know if I'd be able to do anything right. Kirby's Dream Land 3 is actually a really nice speedrun to do because there is a good amount of competition without it being impossible to world record. And surprisingly, there are people who are even running the game recently and challenging me for my world records. Like I said, all of my records have been stolen. I just recently got this 20% record, which I didn't even run for. And then I'm going to go back and get my other world record back. I've been considering maybe speedrunning other Kirby games. That could be like my thing. Could be a Kirby speedrunner. But this was like the one real game I was going to speedrun. Speedrun other games like Mario Super Strikers, or Super Mario Strikers, and Mario Super Sluggers. But no actual full-length games where you play through all the levels and things like that. Because I'm just not good enough to do any speedrun that's close to an hour. This is like, it's taken me hundreds of hours of practice just to get as good as I have at this. Because this is like pushing my limit for how long I can play without making a hugely stupid mistake. So this is definitely the worst level in the game, in my opinion. Look how much damage you can take in no time at all. I'm going to eat gooey to attempt to refresh my health. I actually have a really solid gold for this level. Like, I'm never going to be able to get a gold split again. Because not only did I don't think I made a single mistake, but I got super good RNG on the minigame. You want there to be as few as possible in here. The more there are, the longer it takes to count. Like, you'll see him count each individual one. So if you only get like 2 or 3, that's super good. Because every extra 2 Gordos he counts is an extra second that you lose. So if you get like 8, you lose like 3 seconds to total RNG, nothing you can do. I'm probably gonna die. I lost my power? Are you kidding me? That's actually super duper bad. I'm gonna have to try to get through the next level without using fire. Actually, I need it for the next multiple levels. I'm just gonna go and get it. Need it for 3-5 as well, and there's not a great place to pick it up in 3-4. What I really should have done was realize that I lost my power earlier, or better yet, not lose it in the first place, and then just reclaim it instead of keeping on through the level. I don't need the tomato, which is a thing, but it's not actually helpful. I don't save any time by missing that tomato, it's right there. This part is actually hard to get to the door before it appears on screen. Obviously, the longer it's on screen, the more time you waste. Then, this part is not underwater and it's longer. You got all the time in the world. Probably play Breath of the Wild on Monday. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more Mario Maker, because there's just not that many people that want to submit levels. So maybe if I'm the only one that plays the original Mario Maker, because there are a couple people that have not had Mario Maker 2, but it seems like everyone was about to get it, so I don't know if anyone will be trying to submit original Mario Maker levels anymore. I probably could have gotten through there without using fire, but it would have been pretty awkward. Probably would have been faster, but it's super hard to make those decisions on the fly. I mean, in a normal run, I would have just reset. So, I don't really have any practice knowing where I can lose my ability and be fine, where I actually need it. So, same strat as last time. I need to have no power, but I want Parasol for the boss. So I have Dewey hold on to it, and I hold on to him so that he doesn't lose the power by getting hurt twice, or dying. And then once again, going through the door without an animal friend is faster, so that's why I have Dewey go through that door. It actually seems pretty weird to me that Mario 64 is such a popular speed game just because people keep bonking into invisible walls all the time. That would be the worst possible way to lose a good run. If I was on good pace and I hit an invisible wall, lost a bunch of time or died, I think I would be too frustrated to keep running that game at all. It makes for a good fail compilation, but it would absolutely suck if it happened to you. And that's the kind of thing that would happen to me because I have terrible luck. Like I said, this level goes from longest, most difficult, and most complicated to shortest, easiest, and most boring. All of the rooms that you need to complete in order to get the heart star are completely optional. Skip over the meat of the level. You don't even need a glitch, you just pass everything by. So if you hate this level, just go to any percent and you don't even have to worry about it. See if I can get a decent boss right here. Getting 3 hits in one cycle is really good, like I did there. This could be a 3 cycle. Hey, I got a 3 cycle in a row. That's the first time I've done that. Yay. Fortunately, it's not a good run, but that's still a big time save, like 15 seconds. 18 even. And if I hadn't lost my fire, we would actually be close-ish to PB. Still not in range of actually getting a PB, but would be quite as far behind. I would say World 4 might be the least involved in this run. There's not too much going on, it's a cloud-themed world, so you end up flying over a lot of the level. A lot of levels. I'm at least in a much better health situation, so hopefully I won't have to get so close to dying like I did the other time. By the way, the worst enemy in Kirby's Dream Land 3... doors. Doors are absolutely horrible to work with. It is so hard to get into doors when you're flying on Ku. You press up to go in the door, but if you're not directly in front of it, Ku just flies up, and then you miss it because you're not on the ground. But then you're rapidly flailing in circles trying to get back in the door, and it's ridiculously difficult. I've lost multiple seconds to a single door because I just keep flying around it in circles since I didn't get in it the first time. And you feel like such an idiot, it's so tilting. Not only do you hate that you wasted so much time, you just feel so stupid, you don't even want to continue to run. Sometimes I like to kill those flowers just because they're such a pain in 100%. Get my revenge on them while I have the chance. I probably shouldn't since I'm going into 100% next. Once I get my goal in this category. Target time of sub 5930. Although for the record, you can see my PB. I was the first person to beat Kirby Dream Land 3 in less than an hour, which is pretty cool. Like other games, you're trying to shave off another minute or even second. But I managed to beat an hour mark. And that was a good demonstration of how not to keep that room. I kinda forgot which room I was in, to be honest. Hey, I did it right the last time, which is what counts, right? Did it perfectly once. Got my gold, I think. Lowered my sum of best segments. Like I said, this level is not super exciting. And it doesn't change in 100%. The only thing different is that you pick up Spike in the last room, or second to last room. Use it to pop the balloon, that's it. This is where my health usually is closer to around this point in the run. Last time I had like 2 health left. But you get so much health in World 4. And there's so few enemies that I'm usually at a pretty high health. Last time was just a lot of mistakes. That door is really hard to get into. Even have my visual cue for it, and I still missed. But once again, you want them to have the lowest number possible. Like if that guy had asked for blue Gordos, that would have been optimal because then he would have only counted 2. Cool. Fortunately, it's really hard to PB on stream. I don't know how other people play well when they got people watching them and reading chat and stuff. I have to focus so hard I can get distracted by anything. It's like impossible for me to read chat and run very well. Some levels are obviously easier than others. They take less brain power. Some levels like this are much harder and require more intense focus, a higher level of concentration. Not that room though. What? How did that happen? I need that power. Fine. I just need another one. Cannot believe that just happened. The angles were not. It didn't make any sense. I'm gonna need one of you. barely lose any time from the animation of eating it, since I was going to have to use fire anyway. Door by a bit. It's not a huge problem. No one's really chatting, but this is one of the levels where you can't really do it and read chat at the same time. In any case, I thought I'd just try doing Kirby Dream Land 3 speedruns on stream just to see how it went, since I've gotten a lot better. I have more viewers. But it doesn't seem like anyone's interested still, so I won't stream this game anymore. I feel like Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, maybe Mario Maker, I don't know. Missed the door. I call this the Mario level of the run, 100%, because with Rick, you're running, jumping, and wall climbing. Wall jumping. So it's basically a Mario game. The only difference is that you can jump off the same wall multiple times, as many times as you want. Almost done with World 4. Got this last level and then a boss. With streaming speedruns, it's kind of hard to commentate what you're doing because nothing changes. You're just playing the same run. And the same things over and over. Or is it good to tell like stories about your life or something? I don't have any stories about my life. My life is boring. Look at how many black propellers there are. I'm surprised the game didn't lag 5 times as hard as that. There's like 6 of them. At least 4 or 5 on screen at once. I always hated in English class when you had to write essays about your own life experience. Like, I didn't hate the process of writing essays that much. They kept making me try to come up with my own stories of stuff that never even happened. Like, write about an interesting life experience you had where this happened. It's like, it's never happened to me. Please stop trying to force me to do this. I literally have to make up a scenario because that's never actually happened. That was a gold split. Weird. This is certainly the longest boss in the game. Almost certainly, I suppose, like, BD might be technically longer because you have 4 hits over 2 phases, but probably longer. I wonder if it's at least interesting. You do get to fight 4 different character sets. Got a nice Fractal boss. Con been the boss in any other Kirby games? Oh, this again! Both times. I get Cracker down to 1 HP and then I get hurt 3 times, lose my power, waste a bunch of time. Well played. I didn't even lose that much time. I must have had a somewhat bad Crackle fight in my PB as well. So maybe not too bad, because you don't have a lot of invincibility frames in this game. You can get hit like twice in a single second. Almost hit that. Okay. Back out of that rocky there. There was nothing I could do to avoid it. Happened to jump, well, I got hurt. And that's all there is to it. The story. Can't avoid it in any way. Now I would love to get through the last room without getting hurt, because that would allow me to not spawn Yui at all. More likely scenario though is that I will actually die and not even have a chance to spawn Yui because I get hit twice so quickly. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Oh my god, practice has paid off. Still didn't do the whole level quite right. At least did the last room. Actually I did every room except for the second one. Okay. Pretty darn good. Now I just have to get in this door, and I'm fine. Having 1 HP is really scary here, because you can get hurt by either of those enemies right there as you try to get in that door. So it's always a toss-up. Do you take the extra second to spawn Dewey? Or do you try to get in that door? Because as soon as you get through the door, you can spawn Dewey without losing any time at all. So even if you're at 1 HP, you can always be at least 3 HP during any auto-scroller, basically, unless it's underwater. That far into the run, you would probably end up taking it safe and then just spawning Dewey beforehand and swallowing him. But if you didn't, you could either be glad that you didn't waste any time, or you could easily die and retire. Magnetic. It's so hard to get by that guy. I need to normally damage boost through him. Can I save it? Nope. I needed to just get through that door and I would have had a full heal. There's no coup in that room. I've never had to go through this room as Kirby, it sucks. If I had at least gone through the door, even if I had somehow still died, which I wouldn't have, I would have got a full heal, but even if I had died, at least the remainder of the level is an auto-scroller, so I wouldn't have even needed coup. I wouldn't have wasted hardly any time at all, because I can even pick up coup in the next level. I don't need to go to a special level. But getting through that entire room that I had already gone through. The big thing. Time loss. It's actually gonna be hard to get in this door. Yeah, I'm gonna waste some time getting in that door. Small 40-second time loss. Do that part quite right. I've gotten coup enough times here. I know how to get into this room without getting hurt, but I messed it up. I have to get him. Obviously you can see most of the game is using coup, so I have to get him a lot during practice, and if I'm already in World 5, I don't necessarily want to go back to World 1. At least not lose any time by re-swallowing that ability. So an auto scroller here. Would basically be long enough for a bathroom break if you didn't have to actually do anything in this section. It's just such a long auto scroller. There's almost nothing going on. It'd be really cool if I could skip this, but the skips are so slow. That's probably the auto scroller I'd want to skip most out of any if I had the choice. I could skip any two auto scrollers instead of just those two. But I do skip. That was really bad. I didn't pay attention to which sound was last. I didn't expect Huey to actually get a choice. If I had picked the right sound, I would have had to go through another round of the minigame. Deal with Huey active. Three more levels to go. Got a kinda lengthy one right here, but the next two are pretty action-packed for a lot of it. Come on, just kill that Bronto Burt. This room, it's really, really bad if you forget what room it is, because if you move a single pixel to the right or left, some of these Galabos are going to start attacking you, so you get hit every single, or every couple of times you go down, so you are forced to weave back and forth in order to prevent using all your HP, and it wastes a lot. If that would happen, I would be very tempted to reset. How much time it would lose. back up on the worst mini-boss of the game. Honestly, this is the worst boss in general now that I've managed to kinda destroy the acro fight. It's so hard to get this guy. Of course, fire goes down at an angle. You can either jump up at an angle or go straight across. So if you expect him to charge straight across, you're gonna go under the jump, and if you expect him to jump, you're gonna go over charge. Makes it just even more annoying than... This is a level that the stream decided to just stop during last run. Not that anybody's watching now anyway. If you were to watch the stream after it's uploaded, you would now be able to see. This next room is the most difficult in the entire level. I want a damage boost to the right in order to get enough iframes to go through that block and go beneath the last ones. I didn't want to get hit. I wanted to take 1 damage, but I ended up taking 2. This is actually one of the few times you can die, not lose an incredibly large amount of time because you get coup later in the level. Also, there are so many short rooms that being able to fly is not much of an asset. It is if I can get him to. I also want to keep fire, but it doesn't matter if I don't. If I had just gotten through that room with all the star blocks, I would have been able to reabsorb Gooey and not have to worry about dying. If I had just done what I was supposed to do already, I wouldn't have had to worry that much about dying in the first place. Almost done. Just go fly straight through a few rooms. There's fire in here. And the end of the block. At the boss rush level, final boss. Pseudo final boss. And then that'll be another run completed. So you don't end up jumping on the same space. You want Gooey to jump first since he's normally going to be behind, so he gets a head start. Don't lose quite as much time. Now I have basically full health. I'm going to skip the tomato again. Probably doesn't even save a full second, but why wouldn't I? I'm most certainly not going to need the extra 1 health. If I was doing 100% I might, because there's another boss right after DDD. But all I have to do is get through this level and King DDD. It's really unlikely that you can take more than 2 damage on either fight. I shouldn't take any damage at all, but mistakes happen. But sometimes forgetting to move out of that boss's way. This music somewhere in Kirby 64, because I swear that's the first place I heard it, but I was going through the soundtrack and I couldn't find it anywhere that I realized. Maybe if it was a remix, recognize it immediately. Once again, I don't want him to move, and I'd rather he throw his spikes instead of charge. You know, do what you want. Once again, if he throws his spikes, not only is it faster, does he become vulnerable sooner, way closer to the door, so it cuts down on your travel time, as well as his. I always forget to split when I take out DDD. Hard to know a fight. Dang. Yay. Alright. That's gonna do it for this stream. Probably won't play this game again, but thanks to anyone who watched. Hope you had a good time, and I hope to see you on Monday. Have a good night.